Right, guys, welcome to another BTWN VidCast. This one's actually quite a special vidcast this week. We normally, with the guests we do get, they're normally, we like to deal with authors, we like to deal with paranormal investigators. We do like to speak to a lot of like everyday people who mess around with the paranormal field. It's not every week we get Christopher St. Booth, so it's like quite a surprising show, to be fair. Unfortunately, we've had a few hiccups, which has meant we've managed to start broadcasting it just on 9:30 in the UK and 5:30 in the US on Eastern Standard, right, Kate?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yep. So yeah, unfortunately, apologies about the heavy delay. And if you are in the chat room kicking off on me, I don't blame you in the slightest. It was all Kate's fault. But yeah, nevertheless, normally we'd have pleasantries, and normally I'd ask Kate how he's doing. But to be fair, I think there's a lot we want to get covered, and it's just as quick as we just dive in. So again, welcome, Christopher St. Booth. Thank you very much for coming on.
Well, thank you very, very much for having me. It's beautiful to be here.
No, it's brilliant. I'm just kind of hoping with regards to you coming on, and with you also being, let's just say, ex-British, because obviously America just seems to be the better place at the moment. I'm kind of hoping by the end of the show that you actually he's got a Yorkshire accent, and I'm kind of hoping it comes back. Every time I've spoke to a British person on here, their accent seems to slowly squeeze back to the end of the show, and it's...
It does, and you should hear it come back when I drink.
That's possibly the first, last, and only time people, when they literally disappear from one country to another, the only time accents come back is when they drink or when they get angry, and you're kicking off on somebody, and then the next minute before you know it, you go back to home roots and start screaming swear words in your old slang. But it's
bloody
brilliant.
hell.
Yeah. Kate, well, there's one thing as of late Kate's been trying to do, and he can't get it right. He's been trying to get Cockney slang. He can't get Cockney slang. He keeps asking me questions, and he's just asking.
No, you didn't know. You didn't know bubble. I said it's just a bubble.
Do you know why?
You're like, what do you mean? What do you mean, man? What do you mean? I'm from Liverpool. I'm a Scouse. I don't know these things. I said it's just a bubble. It's a joke, dude. It's a crack.
No, it's a well-known fact that the higher up a Briton that you are, right, the better the person. Simple. If you're from like really low,
your rhymey little slang, dude. Oh my god.
Right, don't even start me. No, don't even start me, you typical American. Nevertheless, onwards and upwards. Rant over, Christopher. Apologies for dragging you slap bang into the centre of it. The first thing I am going to point out is, as of late, I've been looking at, you've got the Booth Brothers blog, right, where, my God, as a blog goes, normally when you look at a blog, there's something positive and shiny and happy about it, and the first thing you see is these big scary eyes. The Exorcist Diaries are on the side, the Exorcist Files. It's very macabre, and I absolutely love it. That's amazing. I'm glad you've done it. But nevertheless, can you do us a favour? Could you tell us, give us your background from what got you to where you are now?
Well, I mean, originally I'm from Yorkshire, England, and then I went to Canada, and I actually ended up in a rock and roll band.
Yes.
I played there for a while and had a couple of records out there, and I actually replaced a guy named Brian Adams, who's a very big singer, yeah.
Good.
And I replaced him. They got rid of Brian. Brian went solo, and I took his place. And then I ended up in LA, basically making movies, and one thing led to another, and we started shooting a horror movie at Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville.
Mo, is that your singing?
We were there. While we were there, things started to really happen. So we ended up shooting a documentary of us filming the film, and then Sci-Fi Channel, which is a U.S. network down here, picked it up, and then the rest is history. And then we started making movie after movie after movie after movie.
Well,
your best. I'm sorry, but your best. My apologies, Mo.
It's okay.
I found where I got into you and your brother's filmmaking. The one I find, and I don't watch a whole lot of paranormal stuff on TV whatsoever. I just find a lot of it's just garbage, rehash, and all that. But what I did find, Christopher, interesting, and I tell people this because both Mo and myself were history geeks. We are true history geeks. and Children of the Grave. I thought that, by the way, I mean, I've seen all of them, but that had been one of your best movies or documentaries you guys put out, and I still give you credit for that today.
Yeah, well, that was an emotional one. I mean, we did a lot that year. I think we shot 3 that year. We just finished Spooked, okay, and then the network wanted another one, so they actually wanted 2. So we went ahead and shot Children of the Grave, and then we shot The Possessed, and then we went ahead and shot the beginning of The Haunted Boy, The Exorcist File. So we kind of did 3 at the same time, but while we were shooting the Possessed, the Exorcist, we found out, we got the real diary, and things started to really pick up on what we found out, what really happened, and we had to make it its own show, because otherwise it would have overkilled The Possessed, which is another great story. And of course, Children of the Grave, that's when I first had my son, so it was very emotional for me.
No. Sorry, Kit, I thought you were going to say something then.
Nope.
You've took a path, and it's a really long path you have taken, and I can see how it's deviated from an original path. From obviously, as you say yourself, you were into music, and then you went straight off music, and you went straight into film. And where like Waverly Hills Sanatorium's concerned, I can kind of understand why, as filmography goes, the one thing that people most don't realise is the amount of effort behind the camera as opposed to the amount of effort in front of a camera. So if, say, for instance, a team of filmographers do manage to catch something in the background and then all of a sudden turn the cameras round, or at least turn the perspective round, that must have been a hard thing to work with, but in the same breath, it must have been absolutely fascinating to do. Was it obviously, with it being an afterthought, were you very comfortable with the way it was, especially in Waverly Hills, and obviously with the way it was around there?
Well, I mean, I think I remember the first time I went there, and I was, I don't know if you know the movie Death Tunnel. That was a big film in England as well for us.
Yeah, I saw it.
And Death Tunnel, we were down there scouting at the beginning where to put the lighting and the cameras in the Death Tunnel. And it's a real tunnel that goes 500 feet down all the way to the bottom of the hill. So I was left at the bottom of the Death Tunnel, and I felt this terrible feeling of oppression, this tragic feeling of fear. So I took a photo, and then I ran up to the top of the tunnel, and I threw up, and I felt horrible. Something really tragic happened there. So at that point, I didn't really think much about it, but 2 weeks later, I looked at my photos. I took up the location scout, and then after, when I went ahead and looked at it, I found there was a little girl standing in front of me with no eyes. And
Jesus, that was
and on my audio recorder, there was a scream. So at that point, I was hooked. I needed to know more about what was really going on. You know, what was this? And I just started learning as much as possible, and was very intrigued, but very passionate about it.
Yeah. Again, Waverly Hills Sanatorium, that seems to be what's changed your path. I'd go as far as saying it seems to be the one thing that changed it, the one point that changed it. Now, before you had that encounter in the Death Tunnel with the girl, was there anything before which brought you towards the fringe or macabre, or sorry, paranormal, we'll call it?
Well, not really. I mean, yes and no. I mean, excuse me. In my book Paranoia, it actually goes over 10 years of my span of what happened, you know, in my life, from, you know, obviously leaving England to be in a rock and roll band in America, and then not making enough money, so picking up odd jobs, to the point I started working on movies, to the point that, you know, I started, you know, dealing with spooky things. So in that, I mean, basically, it all pulled together on what I was doing, and I just think that I guess it's meant to be, because you know, some things you can work at for a long time and they won't go anywhere, and maybe they will eventually, but they take a long time. And then some things, they just fall together because it's meant to be. I mean, a hit song takes less than 5 minutes to write, and some people can spend days on writing a song and they go nowhere. And so it's that kind of concept. It was meant to be.
Do you know, I'll agree with you with regards to especially the analogy of using music, because I always love it. It's a bit of an anecdotal story, but Amy Winehouse in 2010 or 2009, she sung a song called Valerie with Mark Ronson, and during the song at the beginning you hear her say, "Mark says I have too much fun." And apparently, from what I've been told from whatever angle I've heard it from, is she literally walked into the set with a Costa coffee and said Mark told her that she's being late and she was in trouble. She went, "Mark says I'm having too much fun." She put a Costa coffee down, sang the song in one go, grabs a coffee, and she's done. And literally one take, one go, one attempt, and the song was an absolute massive success. So I do get what you mean. It's sometimes it's just it is the right time or the right chemistry to make something work. And especially with regards to what you do, it seemed like everything's fell into place for what you do, and especially you and your brother for what you guys do. Things just fell into place, which
and also
couldn't have been better.
Yes, it did. Thank you, and also to keep in mind that things fall out of place too for that same reason. To move on, because things only. I mean, everything has a timestamp. It really does. You don't know how long it's going to be. And sometimes we have a habit of holding on to something that is dead, and we need to let go of it and move on because it's meant for that reason to go on to your next adventure. And I really believe that there's a lot of signs that we obviously don't listen to, and we should be, because we could be much faster ahead. So I really follow my life like that more than ever now, because obviously everything's changing, everything's moving, and then, like you said, some things just happen for a reason, and there's a reason for that. So I've been very happy about where we're going.
Yeah. So, Christopher, do you look at yourself? I mean, now putting out books too as being part of that, kind of like a new direction to go for a while, just to try something new, or have you always had it in you to be the author and everything else?
No. I never wanted to be an author. I thought it was boring. I hated reading. I never read a book in my life. And no, it's true. And I envy people that can sit down and enjoy a really good book, because a book has no budget. It has no limitations. You can write whatever you want, and you can be transported wherever you want to be. Where a movie, you are limited by budget. And then, of course, you have to create the visual that you're telling, and of course then the imagination, unless it's interpretive film, the imagination is gone. So basically, in a book, what I realized, you'll know if you follow our films and you read the book, you know exactly what I mean, because the book kind of talks about the behind the scenes of everything we do, and then it goes into my own tripped out version of like, wow, this is what kind of happened differently, and this is now what happened now because I did that move, and now I'm thinking this, and then I drift off to maybe a motivated type feeling because this is what's changed my life. But they're short stories, so they're quick to read, but they all have very serious points of life and afterlife. And I think the book thing has just been something that's helped me find out who I am. Because if you sat down, you chaps sat down and wrote a book yourself, you would realize everything you've done that you thought maybe wasn't cool, or maybe you wish you didn't do, or things that you did do were cool, are more valid because you're actually reliving your life through your memory of putting it down on paper, and paper changes things. And I really enjoyed doing that, and it's doing very well. And I put out another one now. That was Paranoia. I put out another one, a quick one called The Exorcist Diary. But I'm also going into the studio. I own my own studio, so I'm going back into the studio in November to do audio book versions of them.
Brilliant. I was actually going.
Yeah, I'm going to put music to them and some sound effects and put in the real EVPs and do it very much like a Vincent Price type thing, you know?
Yes, I'm glad you've said you were going to do them into audiobook, because one of the things I do, my major vice is whenever I do any commuting, because I'll only commute by bus or train, I try to make sure I've got time. Even if I go anywhere, I try to walk. So I rely on audiobooks. I put my headphones on and I do what's called disassociate, which is headphones are in, people leave me alone. And I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and as of late, I've listened to, like, for instance, the Da Vinci Code in audiobook. And you realise when you watch a 2-hour film, and then you realise the audiobook for that film, or for the audiobook for the book, is 8 hours long. And you think, well, hang on, in a 2-hour film, they managed to squeeze car chases, this, that, the other. They leave out so much detail when you put it to a screen that the detail, because it's lost, it in my eyes, because it's being lost, it may be, it sort of not stigmatized, but it kind of ruins the story a little bit. So again, when, as you said yourself, being able to put it to audiobook, the second you said that, I got quite happy, because again, I don't know if any other audiobooks I've came across that have actually had an EVP session on them, so, or at least EVP on there. So I've got a funny feeling you might break break some form of record there.
Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to also make it somewhat of a study too, you know. But I'm very down to earth in the writing. It's very one-on-one, and I'm really excited about doing it. I don't have any idea how it will do. It's just something I want to do. And I'm going to, instead of making another film and another documentary, we just finished a new film for Sci-Fi, which was released in October of last year, and it was a very big project and took a lot of time, and it was very overwhelming in the sense of how much time it took, in the sense of how I felt what I got out of it. Doing commercial films took so much out of me compared to what I really got out of it, compared to like when I'm doing a TV show or doing, you know, this book, or doing, I also still do music. So, you know, I seem to get a lot more personally out of that, even though I understand the commercial politics and all that. I know that Philip and I don't know if you chaps knew this, but Philip and I went ahead and shot a pilot for an American TV show. And
good for you, man.
Yeah, we did it a couple months ago, and it was about supernatural documentarian versus true crime. So we had to find out whether it was supernatural or it was basically a man-murder-made incident. And
that's trippy.
What's really cool was, I mean, living in LA for 30 years, I've never investigated Los Angeles, which is weird. So we got to go. I brought in one of the cases that we did, and one of those cases was the Real American Horror Hotel, the real one that, you know, the TV series is based on. It's the Cecil Hotel, downtown LA, that was built around the 1920s, and it has over 700 rooms, over 7 suicides, 2 serial killers lived there, as well as a few other murders that had happened in that building. So it's really creepy. It's down Skid Road in LA, and of course the latest story, and I don't know if you've heard it, what happened in 2013, that a girl had gone to stay there and disappeared, and they found surveillance footage of her in the elevator.
I've heard that.
Yeah, and we basically went to follow her story and try to get closure for her family. And basically she checked in to this downtown Skid Row hotel, and the last thing they saw of her was they got the elevator surveillance footage of her. Looked like she was running from an unseen force. And basically it shows her running in the elevator, banging on the elevator panel, freaking out, and the camera's recording all this. And then she runs into the hallway. The elevator opens up. She runs into the hallway, and she looks like she's hiding from somebody. We don't see who it is. And then suddenly she starts becoming very catatonic with her arms, and looks like she's possessed. And then she disappears.
Can you guys hear me okay, by the way? Sorry.
Yeah, too loud. No, I'm kidding with you. I'm kidding with you, Mo. But I'm just messing with you, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw that went viral, actually, I thought.
Do you know what it was?
I saw that.
The story about it's a girl called Eliza Lamb, and what happened was apparently she was a student, managed to get herself panicked and lost for some reason in the lift, and she pushes all the buttons and disappears. They found her, if I'm right in believing. I'm not going to ruin your story, because I'll leave you to pull out where they found her. Go on.
That's right. I'm impressed, Maurice, that you know that story. Yeah, and it was an incredible story, because reason why is no one's ever solved it. It was written off basically as an accidental Well, what happened is the residents of the hotel complained about
I remember
dirty
this.
water, and the water was stinking and stopped up the pipes, and then
The water tasted bad as well.
yeah,
That's one part that got me.
Yeah.
Oh no.
and then so what they did is they found the girl naked, dead in the water tank after 2 weeks of being in that water.
Up on the roof.
Yeah. So
that's. I don't know. I know what I can picture going on now. Christopher's out in L.A. and I could see every one of these psychics being out there trying to solve this case as if it was like Jack the Ripper. You know, it's just got that feel like every psychic coming out of the woodwork these days trying to solve this case like it was Jack the Ripper. I don't know. I'm not saying there's a correlation.
I agree, but I think it actually would be great if they did. You can take everything with a grain of salt, because the thing is, you've got a beautiful girl here that just disappears. You know, we got the autopsy report, we got the death certificate. The clothes were left outside the tank, wet. She was inside, which was hard for her to get in it, but she had to go through the locked doors and the alarms to even get on the roof. It was very hard to climb up into the water tank. The opening of the tank is only 16 inches. When you go inside the tank, it's impossible to close the door behind you. The door was closed when they found her. They found no drugs in her system. They found no sense of, rape or anything like that. But we went out and started to find other stuff like that, which I can't really tell you about. But we involved several psychics. And you take psychics with a grain of salt, and I understand that, trust me. But there are some people that really do pick up things that, that is incredible. And I talked to 3 psychics. One was in Canada, and 2 were in America. And I showed them the picture of the elevator. They did not know what case I was working on or anything. I just showed them the picture, and they all drew stuff, and they all came back with the numeral 3, and they said triangle. I found that really weird. They all said the same thing. And of course, when we did more research, we found out that she was involved in a love triangle. There was 2 other people that possibly could have maybe done what they needed to do with her and dispose of a body that worked there. Well, so that's kind of where we're going with that.
From what I remember, though, with regards to the Elijah Lamb, I'm not going to obviously run away with the Elijah Lamb case. I'll move straight away after this. But from what I remember, they had to get climbing equipment to get on top of the water tank in the first place because of how inaccessible it is. You had to stand on pipes, didn't you, which led to a drop,
right.
Or stand on a frame that led to a drop. And it was just so hard to gain access to that gaining access with a body as well would have possibly been damn near impossible. But whoever it was or whatever's happened, somebody's achieved it, for obviously because laws of physics say she can't float, she can't pass through metal.
It's like somebody's gotten away with murder.
God, yeah, that's the scariest part.
And the family didn't get any closure. The family doesn't know.
Nobody can rest with that.
They're writing off as the daughter just accidentally had a bipolar problem, and that's why she was doing those freaky things in the elevator and all that kind of crazy stuff. But I really think there's a lot more. So we stayed in the room. We went to the elevator. I drank the water. It was horrible. And
why?
I did. I went and we stayed in the hotel, and we recorded everything, and we're going to put it together. So we'll see what happens.
Christopher, what do they charge a night these days in Skid Row Hotel?
Well, it's like a European hostel, so most of them don't have bathrooms. So and they don't have air conditioning, and they don't have any bars over the windows, so you can fall out the window.
Okay, you just described Mo's house right there. So I just wanted to
Lovely.
My house is bigger than yours.
Well, I won't drink the tea. Don't offer me any tea then.
Don't worry, we don't drink tea in my house. Coffee and coffee only. Right. Anyway, we'll move swiftly on. Firstly, I'm not just saying because you're on here, but I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what you guys have pulled off with regards to Eliza Lamb. And I know as well, one of our other co-hosts on another show that we run on our channel, he will be exactly the same, like a child waiting for Christmas Day. I can guarantee you for that. He absolutely loves that case, and it ripped him to pieces mentally, because again, he's the same as you. He's tried to work it out, and for all the working out, there's only more questions than answers seem to appear. But we'll move, as I said, we'll move swiftly on, and we're going to move on to something you've got, like a project running coming up very, very soon, if I'm right in believing.
Which one? The Exorcist one?
Yes, that's the one.
Oh, boom! Well, the Exorcist, the Exorcist one, which has become somewhat controversial, but it's a very good. Basically, I can't talk too much about it, but I'll tell you what I can. Is we were the first to go into the real Exorcist house. I mean, you got to figure 1971 is the book, 1973 the movie. I saw the movie when it first came out, and I was scared to death. The Exorcist by far is one of the scariest movies ever made, and always will be. It's still very disturbing.
Yeah.
So, who would have thought that many years later, Philip and I would go in and be the first to bring cameras into the real Exorcist house and show you what it looked like, and then do the first ever paranormal investigation there. Well, that was us, and that became The Haunted Boy, The Secret Diary of the Exorcist in 2010. We had gotten a hold of the original diary that was written by 14 priests, and it's basically a journal of what really happened in those months of when he was possessed, for all the way from Cottage City, Maryland, Washington, all the way to St. Louis, Missouri, to ending up at the Electric Brothers Hospital. So we followed that diary in every way we could. In fact, we talked to the real Exorcist family, we talked to the real boy's family, we talked to everybody involved, went to all the places to find out what really happened. And the more we found out, the more the story behind the story became out. What happened to the furniture? He wrote on the sheets what the devil told him to do. More crazy things. We found out all this incredible stuff. Of course, me being involved in that, Destination America had asked me if I would like to interview and talk about the motion picture The Exorcist, as well as the diary, as well as our own movie. So I said, yeah, sure. So I went down and we filmed with them, and now they wanted me to go. Now they want me to be at the Alive Exorcism event. And what they're going to do is the house, the owners want the house cleansed. Okay?
Yes.
They're starting a family, and which I understand, and the wife says, well, I'm not going to live in here if I'm not having a baby here, with this house, right? Can imagine. It's going to be Rosemary's baby, So basically, we want to cleanse this house, So James Bishop Long, a priest, old Roman Catholic priest, and exorcist, who married us, actually.
Do you know what? Are you okay if I just quickly interject for people? And I'm sorry for being rude there, Chris.
That's all right.
But for exactly what you've just said, to people who are not aware, Bishop Long married Christopher and his wife. Is it Rachel? Did you say?
Yes, it's Rachel. Yeah.
You guys got married by an exorcist. That's amazing. Honestly, I'm never going.
Amazing. That is like. That's so cool.
I'm kind of pissed off now that me and my wife got married in a church.
It's the power. It was the power of Chris that compelled her.
She floated above you, right?
Oh yeah, that's my best part. She floats above the bed. I got more bedroom. It's awesome.
Do you know what? I can imagine that conversation when you phone up Bishop Long and go, listen, Bishop, her head's spinning round. She's throwing pea soup all over the place.
My wife just came and said, really?
Oh crap.
Anyway, it was
got you in trouble.
Yeah, we'll go back to the case. Bishop James Long is a dear friend of ours, and he's going to basically give the minor rite of exorcism, which is basically a more severe blessing. If he finds out the house is carrying dark energy, then he will perform what they call the minor rite of exorcism.
Yeah.
They don't go to. You don't do the major. The major rite of exorcism is on a human being. The minor rite is on a house. So
Yes.
they're going to go in and try to find out if it still has dark energy, and if it does, they need to perform that rite. Chip Coffey, is a psychic, and he's going to go in there and basically help him, figure out, the sensitive side to it, if he feels anything and what's going on in there. And then, of course, the Tennessee Wrath Chasers is going to be the ghost hunter.
Are they going to catch? See, with their shows, they always, they come up with those killer things to catch the spirits. Now, are they going to try to catch this evil entity that haunts his house? I mean, Mo loves them. Mo's got like a rope crush on them and this and that. Me personally, I like them and all. Yeah, whatever, Mo. Okay, I'm just kidding, bro. I like them and all, but it's kind of an awkward fit. You think you'd have Bishop Long in there. You could be in there for I guess. Are you gonna be in there, Christopher, for a cameo, or do you got more? You can't say, can you? But anyhow,
they've asked me to be there. That's all I know. And if they're going to bring the to-go bags, I don't know. But I know one thing. I do know is the house is really real. And it's really serious about what happened there. Now, what you got to figure out, and this is a very serious situation, is that anytime some place had something tragic happen in it, whether it's a death, even abuse, a rape, whatever, or a possession, a dark entity, it's still going to have somewhat of a remnant memory. I mean, you can't get rid of a memory completely. Maybe you can subside it.
Yeah.
Maybe you can subside it, and then maybe you can stir it back up, like stirring, soup again or whatever. So, but I do know one thing for sure, that we've been there and done that, and I know that it's a real place, and it is really, truly dark. And I felt it had a possible vortex in the house. Everything's off kilter when you go in.
It's disorientating. Or disorienting, sorry.
Very, very disorientated. And so really what I'm doing, because, all of them are friends of mine, including Ghost Asylum.
Yeah.
They're very nice guys. I had the pleasure to meet and drink with them for a couple of nights down in Indiana.
Was that a few consecutive nights of drinking, or?
Yes, it was. It was quite a few nights.
I bet you that hurt.
It's gone along terrifically, and I have to say they don't have an ego at all, and that's really nice.
That's cool.
That's one of the purposes. Sorry for interrupting. That's one of the purposes when Kurt said about the Texas Raid Chasers. I'm a massive fan of what they do, because don't get me wrong, to catch for what they try to do, and the be all and end all of it is that they're trying to catch you something. It sort of worries me, obviously, because if there is something on the other side, that it's somebody's loved one, but nevertheless, in the same breath, they actually do everything in my eyes. They do it right. The guy, I forget his name, the gentleman who's the muscly one, the one who's got all the muscles on the second episode. He walked. He walked on into the little command center they have at the end, and when he walked in, somebody said one of the other team members, Doogie, whatever it is, I forget his name is. He turned around and went, "Somebody's stolen your sleeves," because he walked in with a sleeveless T-shirt and his muscles sticking out, and they all started picking on him. And I thought that was really, as a group, I thought it was good. It was very. It put them down to be like a very genuine group of people.
Well, they are. I mean, I just met them for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and they truly are really nice. And one thing I really think when it comes to it is, whatever you do, you're not going to be able to kill the devil.
No.
If you kill the devil, you're going to kill God. You have to have both. Yeah. Otherwise, one will not exist. So no matter what you do, you can only subside things. You can't kill it.
That makes it makes total sense. And I've watched a lot with regards to The Exorcist, and not just as a movie. I've watched other programs and other shows that have had something to do with it. Another show, obviously, which was Ghost Adventures. They had a look at it last year, I think it was. And when I looked through what they'd done, and they don't. It's something's changed with the way TV's gone. It's all glamorizing. Whereas from what you guys have been asked, is somebody's asked and said, "Can you come along?" Well, Bishop Long, Chip Coffee, and you, can you come along and do us a favour? Get to the bottom of it. Don't come in and investigate, which is what everyone seems to want to do. Come in, investigate, and try and help.
I think talking to Destination America, the producers, and Andrew is one of the producers, and he's British as well.
Yeah,
they really care. They did their research before I got there, and they're very caring, and they don't want to put anybody in danger. What everybody's trying to do is they're just trying to get a house clean so that the family can live there. Of course, TV wants to make it an event because that's entertainment as well. But I can tell you that all the people that are going in there are not laughing about this and are not joking. They're scared, and they're very serious about what they want to do, and they want to make it work. Now, a lot of people obviously probably would dog it, and that's their own opinion, but they don't have to watch it. They don't have to watch it. But the thing is,
don't watch it.
It's going to be very interesting because, you know, I was on Coast to Coast last night.
Oh, yeah.
And after, basically, it was during the breaks, I was reading the real diary again, brushing up, right? And that was really interesting because what I was reading, when it came back, he asked me, he says, okay, you're going to go into the house, they're going to perform a blessing. And I said, well, funny you should say that because I'm reading the diary now. And they went in there and performed a blessing. And when they went in there and performed a blessing, that's when his body started reacting, and X's went all across his body. It broke across his body, like 4 X's, to say there were 4 demons inside him. And then it wrote the letter hell across his stomach.
Yeah.
The word hell. You know, and this is after a blessing. Okay. So, you know, okay. And at that point, I think everybody got scared. You know, it's like, but you know, here we go back in there, and you know, and you got to understand, you'll never know if the exorcist really happened. All we have to go off of it is this diary that was documented by. There was about 26 people that actually saw it. There was actually 14 people that wrote about it in this journal that I have, that we obviously made our film about. And so we're going by 14 people saying the same thing, that they saw, you know, these scarifications come across his body. Said hell, had a letter arrow pointing to his groin. He was very foul. I mean, the boy was very foul, just like the movie, as the girl was. So it's pretty creepy when you go into. I posted something on Facebook the other night. It was like, there's nothing creepier than reading a diary about the place that you are in. You know? Here I am, and go, this happened in the room I'm in. Oh my God, you know.
See, the one thing that I have, it's an apprehension, if anything, is people have been convicted in a court with far less evidence and with far less witnesses. People have been convicted, yet people still stigmatize and disbelieve what happened with regards to a couple. For instance, you've got the Exorcist house, you've got the Enfield poltergeist. The
Enfield poltergeist, I find that to just be plain BS.
That's what I mean.
That just due to what you see, what's out there, Guy Playfair and all these other people. Plus, it's the worst written script I have ever heard of a paranormal happening. It made me sleep so good, I had to put Rule Britannia on Facebook right before I fell asleep.
Get it. Oh, you big girl. No, the one thing, what I'm trying to say is, right, there's so many witnesses. There was a police witness to, for instance, the Enfield poltergeist. As you say yourself, there was 14 witnesses in the Exorcist house. And with that much evidence and people to still struggle to believe. Now, we've got videos on our YouTube channel, and one of the videos we've got is with regards to the Enfield poltergeist. It was a documentary that was done a few years ago, and that thing's just under 1 million views at the moment. And every single day I wake up and answer, me and Stephen, one of our other co-hosts of another show, he's also our media manager, We both wake up most mornings and answer 2 or 3 questions or calm a fight down in the YouTube channel because somebody says something and they're like, well, that's rubbish, and then someone else will argue about it, and it's still a debate which is never going to drop. And I can imagine the Exorcist house is exactly the same. Although where the Exorcist...
Not really. No, the Enfield, I mean, I saw the British documentary on it a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I saw, I know that they're making...
They've made another one now.
New Hollywood movie out of it. The next Ed and Lorraine Warren movie.
We're sorry about that, by the way. We're sorry about all that.
But the thing is, nobody doubts the Exorcist houses at all. I mean, nobody seems to doubt it. But, you know, again, when you read the diary, you can just do it as a study of possession.
Yes.
And you can really try to, okay, cool, I'm going to read this and put my own, you know, interpretation on it. And I have to tell you, he's pretty foul in it. It's pretty wicked. It's pretty twisted. Of course, he doesn't spin his head around 360. He doesn't throw pea soup up. And he doesn't necessarily levitate. But, you know, there are reports of him, of the furniture flying across the room, the bookshelves falling over, the scars coming up, him speaking in different languages like Latin, him having superhuman strength, him becoming a very good singer when he was possessed, which is interesting.
That's odd.
I know, it's really weird. It's sort of like a George Michael.
Oh, God. That explains.
Oh, God.
And then George Michael managed to squeeze out the song Faith. I'm just saying, there's a play on words there.
There you go. But anyway, so it's a very good. It's going to be very interesting. It's probably going to do very well on television. So
I am absolutely looking forward to it more because I think you guys, by the sounds of it, you guys have got it right. You've got what's going to happen is it's getting looked at with taste, with respect, as opposed to, as I said, like Ghost Adventures. They went in, and you know what? If say for instance, I thought my house was haunted, and I called in a external paranormal investigation team, for instance, and they come in. The outcome of them coming into my house is they will walk over to me and go, "Yep, your house is haunted." By now, I don't see for the purpose of the Exorcist house why teams do that. They do look at the place like they go in and investigate. Okay, well, what would you get from it? Whereas you guys are going in, you're going to work out what's going on. You're going to try and fix a problem. You're taking a bishop, for God's sake. I mean, you're going to try and get to the bottom of it for the family. And again, I'm going to applaud you for that. I think it's the right way to do it. So,
I don't deal with anything. Like I said, we had many a times that I think me and it sounds weird, but me and Chris Smith of the Tennessee
Race Chasers.
Yeah, Race Chasers. Yeah, spent about 2 hours in the men's bathroom in a bar talking about, you know, what he found and what we should do and my feelings on it, and we got really deep about it. I think they thought we were doing something else in the bathroom.
Yeah.
But I think it's a very bunch of serious people, and I think, unfortunately, with reality TV, everybody has a tendency to say this is crap and this is crap. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I know that the basis of us being there is trying to get to the real truth, and hopefully it doesn't continue. So.
I want to read something real quick here about the case. Okay, I'm just taking it off of that. Okay, it says, speaking in 2013, Allen, who was he was an author, a Jesuit, who was a Jesuit priest, emphasized that definitive proof that the boy known as Robbie was possessed by malevolent spirits is unattainable. Maybe he suffered from mental illness or sexual abuse, or fabricated the entire experience. Yeah. According to Allen, Halloran also expressed his skepticism about the potential paranormal events before his death. When asked in an interview to make a statement on whether the boy had been possessed, Halloran responded, "No, I can't go on record. I've never made an absolute statement about the thing because I didn't feel I was qualified." So that's what kind of makes this cool, because even though they're trying to debunk it there, it's still in the gray area where, like, dude, this really could happen,
Yeah. Who said that? Who said that? Who wrote that?
It was a Jesuit priest. Let me go back. Let me go back to where I was getting it from. It was a Jesuit priest by the name of Allen, And I think he was there at the actual exorcism.
Okay. See,
and they interviewed him before his death.
The one thing with regard,
I never heard of that. I mean, there's a record of the priests that were there, and that name Allen doesn't.
Last name Allen.
Yeah, the name Allen.
Oh, he's an author. Oh, I'm sorry, he's an author who wasn't Jesuit.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about Thomas Allen, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that Thomas Allen? That's in his book, The Possessed, right?
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, well, yeah. That came out a long time ago. That was a long time
ago. Yeah.
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah. Well, the point is we have the real. Well, we have the real letters that went back and forth between William Baldwin and William Blatty.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of really other stuff that shows a turmoil going on, that nobody wants this diary to be seen, or made into a movie and all kind of stuff, which I understand. But the thing is, it did become a movie.
Yeah.
And everybody's based on what's really going on. I think it's out of all fairness that people get to know the truth. Nobody's hurting any of the families because all their identities are hidden. They're still hiding the boy's name today.
Yeah.
So, but it's really nice to know the truth. And I think, again, like I said, when you read the diary, it's really exciting to watch the movie again, and it's really exciting to really know what happened.
The one thing I will say with regards to the Exorcist house is I believe what's happened there. I do believe something did happen. I do believe there's a lot more behind it. Because considering the amount of people that live on this planet, which is apparently 6 billion or 6 point something billion at the moment, and the amount of homes and the amount of trouble, trials, tribulations, and negative and positive feelings people have, right? Why is it that house was the one that stood out the most? Was it just that it was the right time for that house to happen? No, because as far as I'm aware, it happened in the late 50s, didn't it?
1949, yeah, 1949.
1949, sorry. Yeah, so it happened very, very early on. And it was still impactful in the 70s, enough for them to want to make a movie about it. There was so many things they could have made a movie about back then, which was big and scary, but they decided on that house, and they decided on exactly what happened there. Now, as you said before a little bit earlier, you were talking about the amount of stories with regards to the Eliza Lamb story. There was so many different variations and versions of things you could look at, or cases you could look at, which may or may not be something out of the ordinary. It's exactly the same when you look through history with regards to possession and exorcism. It's not a one-off. There's obviously a calling for it, because even the Catholic Church is prepared to recognize it as a problem.
Well, what's strange about the Elisa Lam case is the movie Dark Water with Jennifer Connelly came out, I think, 5 years before that case happened.
Yes.
And it's almost like the movie is like what happened.
Like the future echoes.
Yes.
That's creepy, man. That's creepy when something like that happens. You know, it's like it's a prediction in a sense.
It happened to the Titanic, didn't it? There was a book called The Titan about a ship that hit an iceberg on its maiden voyage to New York, and then 10 years later, the Titan turned into Titanic, and then it crashed into an iceberg on the way to New York.
I thought that was just a movie, dude. No, I'm messing with you, man.
Yeah. Kate and Rose are real. Kate and Rose, it happened. Don't skip. Don't pick on me. But no, again, back to the Exorcist house. I'm going to still stick to my guns. I believe something happened there. I believe whatever happened there does warrant a hell of a lot more than just what happened back then, where he got a few priests in and then walked away. Even when I've seen other interviews with regards to it, and the neighbour next door said, when somebody who was going in there to investigate, and said to the neighbour, "Would you go in?" He was like, "No, you're mad." Basically, he was like, "I'm not doing it. I won't go near it." And I applaud you guys for doing it, and this is coming from somebody who investigates the paranormal quite a lot. I possibly would feel heavily apprehensive going there myself.
You know what it's about, though, Maurice? It's about your faith and belief system.
Yeah.
I've tried to analyze this a lot and try to figure out, everybody has their own problems, which could be hell alone. Just your own problems in your mind is like you're fighting the devil sometimes. So if you don't have it together mentally, you shouldn't go into any kind of paranormal situation, really, because that's enough to trip you off. I mean, that's why my book's called Paranoia, because is it real, or did this really happen, or is it my mind playing tricks on me now, blaming, or it's because I did that, now my life is going to shit. I must have picked up a hitchhiker or a demon, at that location, and now everything is to hell. I really don't know. Shit happens. It's like somebody says to me, here, in The Haunted Boy, the Exorcist File R movie, Greg Myers from Paranormal Task Force went into that place, and he was doing the EVPs on the Ovilus, and suddenly his neck got really, really hot, right?
Yeah.
Really hot. And we had the thermal imager on it, and suddenly he couldn't handle it anymore, and a cross was burned in his neck. Now, he freaked out about that so bad, and he actually got a cross that was burned in his neck. After that, he quit. He would never go back into that house, and to this day, he won't go back in it. And actually, he's going to be on the show as well. He's going to be at the investigation.
So he was at the actual Exorcist house? Is that what you were saying, Christopher?
No, he was in our movie, The Haunted Boy.
Yeah.
The Haunted Boy, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, if you've seen it, he's the guy who gets burned. His neck gets like about 200 degrees, and that form of a white cross gets burned on his neck. Now, if you look at the diary, okay, it says there's crosses burned all over the boy's body. Now, here's a thought for you. See, I'm in a very serious discussion, which I think you probably respect in paranormal.
Oh, yeah.
Now, was it the devil that's doing it, burning, making these words on his body? Was it him, fighting to tell somebody, through his body, communicating? Or was it possibly, a more of a godly help that's helping? You see?
I see exactly where you're coming from with that. I mean, there's so many different. You could look at it from so many different angles with regards to it. My personal opinion, where that was concerned, I don't believe it was something from the outside scratching in. I do believe it would be something from the inside scratching out.
I agree with you, Mo.
That's my own personal opinion. Again, I'm not going to lie to you. My personal opinion stands to nothing because it's only mine. It's not.
Okay, so no, that's fine though. Okay, so we've say we verified that it's something coming from inside, okay?
Yeah.
So, but is it the demon or is it the boy that's communicating?
The one thing I'd say with regards to that, if it was demon or boy, is if it was possible for the boy to replicate what had happened in the first place and get him to do it again, then maybe, if he says it was me and I used this amount of force to do it, if he could replicate it, I'd say go for it. But my honest opinion, demon or demonic, every time you look at demonic folklore, the be-all and end-all of a demon is to cause as much crap as possible, to be as devious as possible and cause as much harm as possible, and to mock. They love to mock, apparently. They love to mock. If that's the case and that's true, then I would not be surprised if it was somebody if it was demonic, that they are literally going, haha, look what I've done, look what I can do, look what I'm capable of.
But, okay, what you're saying right there is I agree with you, Mo. But, I mean, what's demonic with this, what happened in 1949 in St. Louis, is not the same kind of demonic that's the BS that's going on TV now. They throw the word demonic around like it's a piece of candy on Halloween.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
That's more down to religion. I'd put that down more to religion and the fact that, and Christopher, hopefully you'll agree. If not, obviously, by all means, I'd happily like to hear what your belief on this is. But there is like a fashion with regard to this in the paranormal field. Every couple of years, something new does appear. You get, for instance, 1 minute, everybody looks into orbs. Next minute, everybody looks into apparitions in mist form. Next minute, people are using lasers to see what they can find. The next minute, people are believing in nothing but EVP and nothing but that. There is a fashion, so I wouldn't be surprised if the demonic side of things is now, it's that time now where people are looking more and delving more into demons, demonology, and that side of the field. So that's probably where I would be. I mean, what's your opinion on that?
I agree, and see, you are right because that's what you're feeling,
Yeah.
and I'm right. You know, if I feel something, and
Yeah.
Kurt's right if he feels something, because again, it's all about your belief system. Remember, if you believe in God, you're going to believe in the devil.
Yes.
If you don't believe in either, where do you stand? You see?
Exactly.
The point is, if you go in there, you don't really believe in, and then I don't know how much one can hurt you. Out of the 100% of possessions that we've investigated, only 10% of them were possible real. 90% of them were psychological problems.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter whether you are really possessed or you are not, because an exorcism will help you if you believe you are possessed.
Of course.
God will help me because I'm possessed, so you're going to believe that. So somebody comes in, even dressed up as a priest, and you're going to think it, and you're going to be saved. So it's all about your belief system, and that's what makes it so dangerous. If you believe, the Roman Catholics believe so much in the devil and the possessions, especially the Roman Catholics, then they're going to be chances of they're going to be possessed more than someone that doesn't.
Oh no, 100%. It is. It's a placebo. It's a placebo effect, which is worrying. But in the same breath, if it does help, as you say, it helps. And you know what? Again, thanks for the answer that you just gave there, because it's an intelligent way of looking at it, as opposed to just you know. I mean, I've been. I'm sorry for this. It's going to seem like a rant and it seemed like really negative, but I've been stuck in a room with somebody who had a conversation with me about the devil and then said, I don't believe in God because if there was a God, he wouldn't have created the devil, or he wouldn't be associated with the devil. That was it. And you know, when you listen to somebody and you think, he's just said to me, I don't believe in yin because obviously yang wouldn't let it happen. I don't believe with it. And I was like, oh my God. These
you know what you say to him? This is your answer.
Go on.
All this stuff I'm talking about is in my book, Paranoia.
Brilliant.
What I'm saying is, and you don't need to prove anything to anybody because all you need to do is tell somebody to look around. Right now, you have hot, you have cold, you have wet, you have dry.
Yep.
You know, there's always an opposite. That you don't need to prove that because
that's true.
It's there. So you have to have bad to have good.
Exactly. I had a conversation with the same individual. I said to him at the end of the entire conversation, I said, well, I'm impressed you've got this far in life. I shouldn't have been so horrible to him. I was like, really impressed you got this far in life without hurting yourself. And finally, can you explain divine proportion? Which is something which is, it's very Catholic in itself, but basically it's divine proportion is how something can be measured perfect, how something can be designed perfect, but without any apparent external intelligence. And he sort of looked at me like a confused animal. And it was, again, sadly, it's these people who watch the TV shows. It's these people who take what they see on some of the half attempts of TV shows and they take it as gospel. They'll look at a show and they'll say, well, this person's doing it, so am I. And you think, these exist, these people exist. But unfortunately, if they're the people who go to the films and try and drag the best of what they can out, and then the next minute they're contacting on Facebook because the house is haunted in their eyes. And again, it just takes you to be the placebo to walk in and say, there you go. So sadly, it is a bit of a circle.
Well, I mean, there are leaders and there are followers, and unfortunately, like when The Exorcist, before The Exorcist, there was hardly any exorcisms. After The Exorcist came out, there was about over 10,000 a year.
That's actually got...
People were killing their own children because they thought they were possessed and turning their heads around in a circle to make them look like Reagan. You know, it was a horrific thing. So again, it's all about it's all about you really being sure of who you are and comfortable in your own skin and realizing if you are good, then you will be good, and if you are bad, then you will be bad. And presumably you are good, then you need to learn how to control your thoughts. If your heart's in the right place, then you got to make sure your mind is in the right place.
Christopher, have you caught the story up in Toledo, Ohio, about the nun that was killed by the priests that were supposedly doing an exorcism on her?
What?
And it's in a book. Yeah. And I forget the name of the book. My uncle, they're all from there. And they told me about it, and I'm like, nah, I haven't really heard of it. And then they gave me the book. Yeah, these priests were giving this nun an exorcism, and she died. and it became this huge thing. But the Catholic Church was trying to sweep it under the carpet, and it's out in a book. And I'm going to shoot myself in the foot if I can't think of it. I apologize, but I'm just thinking story-wise. I mean, that blows my mind because you got people now, Christopher, out there, and you see this, Christopher. You know what I'm talking about. These demonologists. I mean, these guys come off negative, but put it this way: if let's say something was going down, you'd want a professional in there that's been trained in mental illness, that does have the background. When you're talking about certain religions or multiple religions, to be honest, but then you get these people that go out and get a certificate for $50, or we gave them out for free after one show. Everybody was a demonologist who listened, and try some exorcism. I mean, to me, that's the most dangerous thing you could do out there, but that's what's going on right now. I mean, like, go on Facebook, and I don't really like to hang out on Facebook much, but every once in a while I'll see so-and-so, demonologist, and I'm like, no. I go, no. Dude, I apologize, but that's one thing that pisses me off, and I'm sorry if you're hearing me through my rant, but I wouldn't take a demonologist into the exorcist house. How about that?
The thing is the demonologist that was in our movie, The Haunted Boy, was about 82 years old.
Yeah.
And
he
really knew.
That's different than what I'm talking about.
No, I know. What I'm saying is, I agree with you in the sense of that. If I needed surgery and I wanted to go to the best liver surgeon, I needed to have my liver. I needed a liver like in Monty Python. I need my liver, right? I needed a liver, right? Am I going to go a young med student to get my liver done, or am I going to go to a very seasoned doctor?
Yeah.
I'm going to go to one of the best doctors I could find to get me a liver instead of going to somebody that just started school. And the thing is, again, I think people also need to be blamed, because how can some people be so stupid and invite these riffraffs off the street to come in and bless their house or fix their paranormal problem and believe them?
Yeah.
How can they be so silly? I mean, are they watching too much reality TV? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't have a problem with entertainment. And I don't have a problem with people that really do it. And the problem is making sure you define between the two.
Well, in summary, I think the easiest way of looking at it is if you become a demonologist within the past year and you're less than 30 years of age, then there's a very, very good chance you haven't done enough research, because the one or two demonologists that I've ever seen from days of old, we'll call it, those guys have had 30, 40, maybe 50 years of research behind them. And then I've seen one of them interviewed. He was interviewed by Reuters.com, and they said, "Well, how can you say that you're the? Or would you ever say you were the foreleading or forerunning demonologist?" He went, "No, because I haven't learned half of what I should have learned by now. He went, I'll never finish learning, and so I can't sit there and insult people by saying I can't. I am at that point. It's a never-ending pursuit. It's a never-ending research, which is what they do." So.
I agree with you, definitely. I think you need to do that. Like, Bishop James Long is a demonologist.
Yes.
But he's actually an exorcist, and he's actually one of the only priests that actually is a real priest. And I don't know all the credentials. I don't understand how that works. But he's not a chap that's ordained. He actually, he's the celibate. He's vowed himself to celibacy and to poverty, and this is a very serious for him, and he's been doing it for like over 14 years as a real priest, not as an ordained minister. Yeah.
The one thing I have to say with regards to Bishop Long is, if I ever had a problem and it was utterly demonic or evil or dark, that guy would be like having Mike Tyson in your side in a bar fight. I swear to God, he'd be the only person. He's the only person that I could actually sit there and think, do you know what?
In a case before. So.
Yeah. He's amazing for what he's doing. Again, I applaud everybody with regards to what you're going to be doing with the live event. I think I think it's needed. I think that I can't wait to see it all come to fruition. I'm not going to lie to you, really. I can't wait to see it all. And yeah, but listen, unfortunately, we are coming to the end of the broadcast. I'm going to have to cut it in a couple of minutes just to make sure we can get it all rendered and get it back up online for people. But is there any? Obviously, you said you've got 2 new audio books you're going to be getting up and running in the next couple of
weeks. Yeah, well, if you're interested in the book, it's at spooktv.com, SPOOKEDTV.com. It's on Amazon UK. It's on Amazon in America, and then the new one, The Exorcist Diary, is at the exorcistdiary.com, the exorcistdiary.com or spooktv.com. And actually, we give the proceeds to the United States Old Catholic Church for the whole ministry on that.
That's cool.
So the money that's made of promoting, I guess, the diary actually helps homeless children. So that's the ultimate slap on the face.
See, that's
awesome, actually.
That's yin and yang. Again, it's back to the perpetual circle, getting something that's totally evil and turning it into a positive, and it works. Again, I'm impressed with everything that you've done. I'm impressed with everything you're going to do. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut off here now, and I'm going to sit there and wait patiently for everything to hit broadcast so I can start watching and start get myself all excited about it coming on here.
Well,
so
make sure. Well, I mean, Maurice, are we Facebook friends?
We will be after the show. Don't you worry about that.
Okay, well, send me a message. Send me a message. So I have to kick somebody off to get you on. Okay.
Oh, cool. Don't kick off Bishop Long. Can I just say don't
kick off Bishop Long.
Not Bishop Long. He's somebody you want in your corner. Believe me.
I'll kick off Kurt.
Do it. Please do it.
Hey, you and I never friended. Christopher, I never friended you because of that reason.
I look forward to it. Let me know what you guys think after you see it, okay?
Oh,
100%. I definitely will do. But
all right.
Christopher, it's been brilliant having you on here. Again, you're welcome back anytime you want to come back and kick off about somebody, rant about somebody. If you want to come back and just tell us about how successful you're doing with regards to the books, please do. It's been brilliant having you on here, and again, it's nice to speak to somebody so down to earth with regards to it all.
Thank you so much. You guys have a great Sunday night. Bye bye.
You too. Bye bye now.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Thank you for coming on, Christopher. Thank you.
Bye. Cheers.
Bye now.
Okay.
Bye.